Hey, Joy Olson here of Blockbuster Fundraising, and welcome to our Tuesdays, 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, our lives. And you know, today you have 75 days left to year end. Whoo! Doesn't that's enough to give you a Halloween spooky do to think of how little time you have left, because as we all know, 30% of us raise 20 to 50% of our annual fundraising dollars from now through year end, and especially even the last 3 days of the year, the calendar year, are huge. All right, let's get started with the 12 checklists that you can go over right now for year end fundraising. Claire says, number 1, this is a checklist on how to make sure that your donors want to give. You ready? Okay. Make sure that you have in your year-end content compelling, emotion-packed reports, stories that show donors how they are the heroes. This report talks about what they did, not what we did, all right? And then she says whether it's a great big amount or a smaller amount, gets to know what kind of wonderful impact that they've had, all right? So then have you also considered a thankathon and are going to be calling people or having a way to thank everyone, because that's extremely important to predispose your donors to want to give more, especially your monthly donors. Don't forget them. This is a great way to reach out and remind them of their impact of their giving. You want to recruit board members, development committee members, or other volunteers to help. Get on those phones. Get to thanking them. All right, so that is your checklist for how to predispose your donors to give more. You want to make sure that they feel like the heroes, that you've segmented your major donors, your mid-level, and your other wonderful donors, so that each group, whether they've given a big amount or a small amount, knows what an wonderful impact and what a great difference they've made, and you want to get to thanking them. Checklist number 2, establish your priority year-end fundraising goals. And this is going to be goals that you based on last year's results. That's your checklist, your last year's results, okay? Number 1, you want to check off that you know your retention rates, and you have a goal for improving those retention rates this year. Number 2, you want to check off, we know which donors downgraded, and you want to have a plan to ask them to increase. You want to check off, we know which donors made multiple gifts last year, and have a plan to ask them to upgrade. And you want to check off, we've created mailing segments for our non-donor volunteers and our non-donor clients, and have a plan to target them with a specific ask this year. And don't forget, like, your event vendors and people like that. You know, they have an interest in you and an interest in you doing well, so ask. Ready for the 3rd checklist? Claire calls this the contact priorities checklist. So let's go over that. We evaluate folks based on cumulative giving, because we understand that a $100 a month donor is not a $100 donor, but a $1,200 donor. And we also know that someone who made a recent $100 memorial gift, but who generally makes a $1,000 annual gift, is not someone we want to overlook with this year's annual appeal. This is all very important. It's really important that you know your donors, that you segment out. You don't want a $1,000 annual gift donor to get an appeal for a $50 a month monthly giving appeal. So be very careful with your contact priority checklist and make sure that you don't miss important loyal supporters and lump them in maybe with a lower level of support, an appeal for a lower level of support. And that can happen easily. Okay, enough about that. Now, here's another checklist for your contacts. Check that you have created a list of last year, but not this year, in other words, lapsed donors, and you've sorted them out according to dollar range so that you can prioritize contacts with your largest and most loyal donors. And you have a plan to remind these folks of their generous past support. Thank those donors. I think a lot of lapsed donors don't often realize that they have lapsed. They get really busy. They think that they've made a checkout. And if you call them and your thankathon and or a lapsed donor call and you're talking to them and they mention this, very possibly it might be a wonderful time to mention monthly giving. It just automatically happens so that they never do forget you or are considered lapsed donors. So Claire says that strategies to consider include for your lapsed are face-to-face meetings, phone calls, and personal handwritten notes added to their special appeal letter. Okay, you want to be able to check this off. We ran a list of all first-time donors and plan to make these a separate campaign segment so we can give them a little extra attention. We understand that new donor retention on average is just 23% for first-time donors. That's terrible. But if you can get them to repeat, it goes up to 60%. That was in the Fundraising Effectiveness Project. So, you know, if you can renew folks once, that you're going to be able to likely renew them at much higher rates after this point. So, it's certainly worth the effort. All right, now you want to be able to check this off. We ran a list of monthly donors and plan to make these a separate campaign segment. And check this off. We ran a list of last year's peer-to-peer crowdfunding fundraisers because we understand that they bring in significant gift totals. We know these folks can be a functional equivalent of major donors, and we plan to put in place strategies to recognize them, reward them, and encourage their continued engagement and investment. And I think that this is extremely important too, considering that so many of you are going to kick off your year-end fundraising with Giving Tuesday. Have a plan for those people that come on board. They're new, they're willing, they're excited, so you gotta keep them excited and really involve, start a relationship. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, now you also want to check this off. We ran a list of volunteers because we know volunteers are twice as likely as non-volunteers to donate if they are asked, and asked well. And you have a plan to make them a separate campaign segment, and you're going to send them an appeal that is absolutely tailored for them and recognizes their already generous contributions to your cause. Ready for your fourth checklist? Because this is important. It's, well, they're all important, but this is your annual appeal case for support checklist, okay? Are you ready? Checklist number 1, we've taken the time to put ourselves in the donor's shoes. Got to walk a mile in their shoes so that you can craft an appeal that really resonates with them. And you've thought about the problems that they've seen or see, and the issues that they've demonstrated that they care about, and the ways that they can join in being a part of your solution. And you want to check this off. Your year-end appeal will feature an emotional story that both demonstrates a relevant problem and a timely, believable solution. Okay, now you want to check this off too. Our year-end appeal will invite the donor to enter our story as the hero. Yay! Next checklist item. Our year-end appeal will have a sense of urgency. And our year-end appeal will have a specific ask for a specific purpose and a specific amount, ideally tailored to different donor segments. That is so important. I think that we should put a screen up with just those words, because therein lies a lot of success right there. Okay, check this off. Our year-end appeal will draw information from our database to make our offer as personal as possible. You're going to use their first name. You're going to refer to their gift last year. You're going to put any other type of engagement that you can. Did they attend your event, your fundraising event? Are they a volunteer? Do they serve on a committee? Just make it so personal. Are you ready for the 5th checklist? It's your website. Let's talk about your website, because your website is the portal. It couldn't be more important, and you want to be able to go over this checklist with a fine-tooth comb and check every one of them off, and even more. Okay, check this off. We've eliminated all outdated information, events that have happened, etc., etc. Links that don't work, get rid of them. Okay, number 1. Number 2, your contact information. Make sure that it's easy. It's easy to find and update it all. Don't have like a development officer that it left a couple of years ago still on there. You want to make sure that everything is totally current, and I know you will. Okay, thirdly, you want to add new compelling stories and visuals on your most visited page sites. Make it spectacular. This is year end. 20 to 50% of your giving is going to happen now. So make it a celebration on your website, okay? Okay, 4th, your donate button. It has to be prominently displayed, for heaven's sakes. So the ideal location is on the top, bright colors, very easy to spot, very easy to use. And make sure you can check this off. It's operational, that donation button. And you want to, Claire mentions, offer up ways to, if they don't want to donate online, perhaps you have some donors that are not yet comfortable donating online, where they can send a check, or how they can donate by phone, okay? Now, you want to make sure that your website is optimized for mobile. And I know you've heard this so much that I'm sure you've done it, but I can't tell you how discouraging it is to go to somebody's website on your iPhone or your Android and nothing loads right, the pictures are too big, it takes too long. Oh, it's so discouraging. You have got to make sure, especially this time of year, I think especially now in these days of technology, you've got to make sure that everything you do, your website shines on mobile. It's fast, it's perfect, it's accurate, it looks good, so optimize it for mobile. And that really goes for your emails too, really for your emails, because your donors are opening their emails, and I know a lot of us this time of year, we have wonderful emails that are planned to go out. We've got our visuals, our images, our videos, our beautiful, compelling stories. Make sure that they look fabulous on the phone, okay? Now, let's talk about third-party endorsements. Get some testimonials, anything that you can that really beefs up your credibility, makes you a great investment for this time of year. Social proof, it's very, very important. I'm trying to look a couple notes so I don't forget anything here, but third-party endorsements are perfect. So throw a few of those in on your web page. It will make a good difference. Oh, I know what I just remembered. Audit too. If you have an audit, it makes so much difference if you've got Charity Navigator or GuideStar. People really look for that. And I know as a development director too, I would always put our tax ID number, because foundations and corporations oftentimes, and even major donors will oftentimes want your tax ID number for their year-end gift. And be sure to check this off, that you have a plan to spruce up your homepage. Don't just leave it the way it is. Make sure that it is spectacular. And you know, one thing I want to mention too, I want to go back to the Donate Now. Talk to your webmaster. Claire didn't mention this, but from having been in the business for going on 23 years now, take advantage of that Donate Now button by keeping them on your page. Don't have it linked up and they go somewhere else and then they can't get back. So talk to your webmaster and say, look, you know, our old Donate Now button, it throws us off to so-and-so, or takes us to PayPal, or yakety yak. We want the Donate Now we want to keep them here with us, keep them on our page. And they'll be able to do that for you. So check that out. So there you go. Website cleanup and website makeovers. You ready? Are you ready for the next checklist? Checklist number 6. This has to do with your donation landing pages. And very first thing that she talks about here to think about is that when you create custom branded donation landing pages, that they match the appeal. Like, say for example, if you have a project and you're going to build a new dog kennel, that when they say, ooh, I'm interested in this, and they hit the button, that the next page says you are at the right place to help build a new dog kennel. So you want to keep it consistent. And also, this really works well if you do have to go off your website to PayPal or Network for Good. Make sure that you add an image that is consistent with the appeal and the project and the brand of the particular project that this appeal is for. And landing pages are really super, and you might need some help there, but they're well worth it. And they're well worth it always, but especially at year end. And I think that every donation landing page should certainly have a specific call to action, and that's what's perfect about that landing page. It has one specific call to action, one project, one thing that they know that they can absolutely get done right now. It's especially wonderful, I think, for a matching gift. And in this report, the 12 checklists, Claire has some wonderful examples that take you through some landing pages that will give you some good ideas, and maybe we'll put up a few on the screen right here. There's so many good checkpoints on your landing page and your Donate Now that I want to keep going through a few more of these. Make sure that you test your donation landing pages on all your different technologies, whether it's your iPhone, your Android, your desktop, your laptop. Make sure, because each one of these, it's going to look different. So make sure that they all work. You want it clear and easy to use. You want that they see exactly what the options are, and you want to make it easy. Also, make sure that you give suggested donation amounts. Giving levels really do work. So you want, and don't make them too low either. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need, And with each giving level, you can give a little brief description of what that achieves, what impact that particular gift level has. I think that's really wonderful. You want to try to keep the information at a minimum, and hopefully you will go get into this checklist for yourself with this link and make sure that you go over all these wonderful ideas and checkpoints for yourself before year end. This next part is extremely important. Of course, this time of year, it's all important, right? But the emails, let's talk about your emails. And I know as development director, I just think the email portion is so significant in year end, and especially like the last 5 days of the year. All of them are really important, but each one has the opportunity to go to a different segment, each one with a different story, each one with a different appeal, so easy to test. So this is just terribly important. So let's go over Claire's email checklist, okay? Determine, she says, number one on your checklist, determine who the sender is going to be. That's extremely important because people open emails from a name they recognize. So you want to email it from a person in your organization, not just your organization. Okay, secondly, be able to say that you have developed a succinct, compelling subject line for each one of your emails, and brainstorm them, run them through your marketing department, run them through your spam checker to see if there's any problem. Just get these headlines ready to go because they're going to make subject lines make a huge difference. And Claire says, grab subject line ideas at 8 Ways to Find Your Nonprofit's Perfect Holiday Email Subject Line. And there's a link in this checklist for that, so you'll want to check that out. Okay, next checklist that you want to go to be able to tell yourself is that you're going to be, yes, personalizing your emails. And she mentions that Aberdeen Group found that personalization improves the click-through rates by 14% and conversion rates by 10%. Personalize. Everybody's personalizing. I mean, they really are. And it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel like you better open up that email. If somebody says, Joy, this is going to be so interesting for you, I'm probably going to open it up. Okay, now, make sure that you're going to keep your call to action above the scroll. Keep it at the top, because we all understand that busy people are not going to take the time to read a long email. So give them the opportunity to donate and then opt out at the very beginning. Get that call to action high. Then make sure that you can check this off. You can say, we've picked a compelling image and caption because we know a picture is worth 1,000 words. Boy, is that true. And your email should be brief, and also know this, that research shows that people give more when you add a compelling image that tells a story. So make sure that your image matches the imagery on your landing page where you're taking the people to donate. Don't want to confuse them. So we've gone over that, but it's very important, and it's on Claire's checklist here again. Okay, check this out and check it off. We've included a big, bold donate button at the top of our appeal in a color that contrasts with the rest of the design. In other words, they can't miss it, all right? And research shows that support followed by the name of your cause can increase your donate rate by 16% per page view. Wow, I mean, there's 16% you sure don't want to ignore. What a great idea, what a great hack. Okay, check this off. Our call to action highlights why it is so important to give right now. You want that sense of urgency. And check this off. We've checked to see what the e-appeal looks like on different devices, our desktop, our laptop, our iPhone, our Android, and we send a test to each type to see how readable it is when it displays. Do that. Make sure that each test subject tests out everything. The links, feedback right now is going to be drastically important. And then again, she says that check this off, that you've also sent a test email to the most common addresses used by our constituents. She suggests sending them to Gmail and Outlook to assure that it's displaying as you intended it to. Okay? Now, this is important too. You want to be able to check this off your list. We've contacted our email provider to assure they have a plan for dealing with the glut of email this time of year. Ooh, bet you hadn't thought about that. Now is no time for the servers to be down. So we all know what it's like to deal with our mail provider and making sure that the schedule is clear and that our direct mail piece is going to be in the mailbox when we want it to be. But maybe you hadn't thought about that. Your email provider, better call them right now. See what you're dealing with on the dates that you are planning your emails to go out. And be able to say and check this off, we've double checked to assure that all emails send donors to a simple branded donation page that reflects the same message featured in the appeal. They are not taken to a generic donation page or a page that takes them off our website, but a page that reflects back to them their intentions when they clicked on our donate button. We understand that this helps potential donors feel secure and builds trust. And once they feel secure and you've built trust, you certainly increase the likelihood that they are going to complete their donation. So remember that. Make sure that the images link up so the donors don't get confused. All right, we've gone over that enough. But now, can you say and check this off that for our final year-end online blitz, your series of e-blasts that build over the last several days of the year, that you've made sure that content is created, that it's tailored to your donors, your audience, and that all of these are approved and ready to go no later than December 20th. And as a development director, I love to have a separate story and a separate video and a separate appeal for each and every one of these last 4 or 5 emails that go out year end. Okay, your final email is sent on December 31st. And then you thank promptly and graciously by no later than January 5th. And you can thank via email, snail mail, or a phone call, but no later than January 5th. Wow. You know, don't be afraid to have 3 or 4, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, but the last 4 days really, on the 31st, the 29th, the 28th, and the 27th, I would definitely have 4 of the best emails you've ever put together in your life, with great videos, a great, compelling, emotional, heartfelt story about one particular animal, one particular child, one particular something that reflects your mission, and have 4 of those, 4 different ones ready to go. And I know you're going to have great success. Another checklist on this beautiful report put out by Bloomerang featuring CLAIR Axelrod's 12 checklists for year-end fundraising, this is extremely important. They're all important, but this is your lapsed donor renewal checklist, okay? So let's take a look at what you're going to want to check off here. Number one, you're going to want to be able to say, we've run a database report of donors on the verge of lapsing. 2, we've tiered these donors from highest to lowest. 3, we have a plan to call as many of these folks as possible, beginning with those who've given the most, and then those we believe have the greatest potential to become more major donors, and thirdly, calls to those who have given consistently over a period of years. And then we plan to leave messages. If we don't reach them, thank them for last year's support, leave our contact information if they have questions or would like to give over the phone or website, and drop a "sorry I missed you" thank you letter in the mail. Isn't that perfect? Complete with a remit envelope. Now that is a wonderful year-end lapsed giving checklist. How about this? Can you say, we have a schedule to update this list regularly until the end of the year, so we don't end up soliciting anyone whose gift recently arrived. Very important. And check this out off your list. We plan to organize lapsed donor year-end phone-a-thon and enlist our board and other volunteers to help. We will assume in our tone and language that our donor simply has forgotten and just not got around to giving yet due to the busyness of life. And you know, like we've said before, often we've said it, this can be so true. And if they seem surprised and thought they had given, I think it's a perfect time to offer a monthly giving. Lets everybody do the gifting in an easier way. Now, think about this and check this off. For donors we do not reach by phone, we've prepared a "we miss you" letter, and you want to make it brief, direct, personal, and as noticeable as you can manage, because you know all the mail that's out there right now. Anything that you can do to stand out, do it. And you all really want to reference the fact that you're sorry that you've missed them. And if you've previously mailed a big long letter in a standard number 10 envelope or window envelope, mail a short note in an invitation-sized colored envelope. Be different. Do something to make them notice. And you want to stay upbeat and positive. Don't sound desperate. And you want to reward your lapsed donor. And really, it's true. They should be rewarded because they've given to you in the past and they've cared about you. So you want to thank them for that ongoing care and generosity. And just remember to tell them, "We miss you. Come back." This is absolutely amazing. All these great checklists in Claire Axelrod's 12 different fundraising checklists for you right now. It's kind of a tongue twister. And there's some really great stuff on checklists for peer-to-peer fundraising and Giving Tuesday. And there is a fabulous checklist too for social media. I really love it. But I think what I'm going to do is put that in a different learning piece for you, because this is getting a little lengthy and you are probably have a million things to do to get ready for year-end fundraising. She also has a great checklist for thank you templates for year-end. So Blockbuster Fundraising, we'll definitely get this out to you, and we're going to give you, of course, this link so you can download your own report from a Boomerang and have this all in one place, because it's really perfect. And I think it'll give you a lot of security to get started and feel good that you have gone over every little piece of the year-end fundraising puzzle, because there's a lot to do, and it's always the little tiny details that that are so easy to miss. So with this particular all these different checklists in place, I don't think there's a detail you can miss if you just keep going over your checklist. So hey, this is Joy Olson of Blockbuster Fundraising, and thank you for having been here today. And we hope that this really gets you in the mode for checking off your list, reading it twice and checking it off 2 or 3 times to make sure that everything's ready for a sensational year-end fundraising season for you and your mission. Check out lots more of our free fundraising information at blockbusterfundraising.com, joyolsongroup.com, and we got hundreds, I must say, of free fundraising video tips on our YouTube channel. So goodbye for now. Thank you for having been here. Hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.